Hey everyone, welcome back to Oak Creek Homestead. Today is the second video in our Preserving the Harvest series, and we are making applesauce. So unfortunately, I deleted a video where I already shot this intro and showed you how we prepare the apples for cooking, but I'm gonna just show you what equipment we use. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm sure most people know how to use an apple peeler, corer, slicer, and put apples in the crock pot. So unfortunately, we missed out on that little video, but let me show you what we use to get our apples ready. So we have this Apple Express peeler, corer, slicer that clamps onto our countertop. I don't know if there's a specific brand on it, but we purchased this up at Layman's in Amish country in Ohio. So I'm sure you can find these other places. Again, it clamps on. So this is what it looks like. For you. So this part right here is the clamp. This red piece right here clamps onto your countertop. And then it works just like every other apple peeler, corer, slicer that you've seen work. So we usually purchase a bushel of apples at a time, and we get them from a local orchard. Our orchard is not producing yet. Maybe in the next couple of years it will be. But we peel and core and slice as many apples as will fit in our crock pots. And then I will show you what it looks like after we've cooked those down on low. All right, so you can tell these apples have cooked down for about 8 hours on low in the crock pot. I prefer to use my immersion blender to blend up all these apples. You can also scoop it into a food mill if you have one. And so that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna blend all this up. The only thing I've added to these apples is about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of cinnamon to the apples. We are going to blend these up. And as you can see, I've started filling some jars. We're gonna fill jars. I use quart jars and pint jars for all of our applesauce. So here we go. You can leave your applesauce as thick and chunky or as smooth as you would like. Because I do use this applesauce at times to bake with, I prefer it on the smoother side. But if we were just eating it, I'd probably leave it a little chunkier. So we're gonna fill the jars up. You can tell I like to fill mine right up past the shoulder, almost to this first bottom edge where the lid's gonna set. So this is a little challenging to do with one hand, but basically we're just gonna fill it up. All right, so we filled a bunch of our jars. I want to show you how we seal them before we put them in the canner. When I'm canning, I pretty much only use ball jars, and I usually use the narrow top jars versus the wide top jars. The Sure-Tight lids are universal, so they fit the quarts, they fit the pints, they also fit the tiny jelly jars, and even the real small, I forget what they're called, jars that people use for like gifts and stuff. So I boil some water and then I throw these lids in there. This is pretty hot. And I just put a lid on each one. Now I've already went around. So after I filled them, then I go around with a hot rag to clean the very top edge. Then after these have soaked for about a minute in the boiling water, they're really hot. Put them on the jars. Then you're just going to take a band and screw that right on top. All right, so we're ready to add our jars to the canner. The water has come to a rolling boil. Now this took a solid 45 minutes, maybe even longer. There is a wire rack. Let's see if I can pull this up here. You can pull up your wire rack to put your jars in. You can put it in while your wire rack's down, whatever. This canner fits 3 quart jars. So I'm gonna put 3 in. It's supposed to fit 4, but I can never get 4 in. So I just do 3. I'd rather do more batches and not have them clink around. I really don't like hearing them clink around. And then I'm going to set the camera down and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So this water bath is really full. In fact, it might even spill over a little bit. I might have to take some water out. But you can tell when I put mine in, this jar tipped over. I prefer to keep them all standing. So I'm going to stand that one back up. I'm actually going to take a little bit of water out of here. So when water bath canning, you want to make sure the water level is 1 inch over the jar lid. I prefer to put the lid back on my pot, make sure it comes to a rolling boil, and that's when I start my timer. With quart jars, I will boil these for 20 minutes. With the pint jars, I do about 15. So I will see you guys in about 20 minutes. Alright, so our jars have been boiling for 20 minutes. So we're going to take this off. I'm going to use my little grabber. Reach in there, being careful not to burn my hand. Take my jars out and let them cool. I'm going to keep doing that until all of these jars are processed, and then I'll show you the final product. Alright, so all of our jars are out of the canner. I'm just going to let this water cool down before I do anything else with it. Now, you may notice some of our jars look a little filmy. That's because our tap water is really high in iron. So I will wash all these off. It doesn't affect the final product. It doesn't get into the applesauce or whatever you have in the jars. But that's why some of them may look kind of funny. But what you're looking for, see how that's still popping? That means it has not sealed yet. This one has sealed. That one has, well, not quite. So what you're looking for before you store these is you want all of these lids to have popped down. Sometimes you'll hear the pop. These just came out, these smaller ones. Sometimes you won't, you'll just notice they're sucked down. But as long as they stay sucked down like that, then they are sealed. If any of them do not seal when you're doing the water bath canning, like if this one doesn't end up sucking down, I would put this one directly into the fridge and we just eat it this week. It's not bad, it's still edible. You just can't store it for long periods of time. It would need to go right in the fridge. And it still has to come down too. So that's it for canning applesauce. Thank you guys for watching this whole video. Thanks for liking it and clicking the subscribe button below so you can get more updates as far as our preserving the harvest series that we're doing. This is the second video in. We have some more garden to table videos coming up, as well as our garden tours as our garden fades into fall. So thanks for joining us today. We'll see you guys soon.